Been a Mercedes technician for 18 years now. I got certified through Mercedes-Benz, diesel engines, emissions. I think the first thing to look out for is just use the correct oil products. We actually use a specific blend of our oil, and it only goes to diesels. Reason for that is so that the emissions components don't get damaged through the cheaper oils. The quality you're getting is better, so you can always go with the cheaper brand, but at the end of the day, you're gonna end up paying more for it. Really encourage to do services instead of just oil changes. That way you can keep your filters up to date. You also get an inspection with your brakes and everything, so you don't want to go to a Jiffy Lube. You don't want to go to one of those spots where it's just, you're going to get generic oil changes, generic oil filter. So at 20,000 miles, it's more than enough time for you to come in, get it done right. We have special technicians that know what they're doing, and that's what we strive to do here. You don't want to go too far low on your DEF levels. That will end up causing issues, as in going into limp mode. Limp mode is basically your engine is not going to be at full capacity. You're not going to be able to really go far more than 20-30 miles an hour. You're probably going to have to get towed, and it's mainly because there's something wrong in your emissions or in the engine, whether it could be a sensor, a motor, it could be anything. Check engine light will come on, and you'll end up having to tow it into the shop. Most of the time, people try to keep driving it even though it's in limp mode, and sometimes it actually causes more problems due to the fact that it's actually trying to make you aware that it's not supposed to be driven. It also definitely gives you limited amount of starts when you are in limp mode. Sometimes it usually starts around 5, and then every time you turn it off and you turn it back on, it will keep deducting every start. So once you get down to 2 or 1, it's not gonna do anything. You're just gonna be sitting there just waiting for a tow truck. Most of the times, people like to leave their keys in the car, and they'll come in and say, hey, it doesn't start my car. The key will end up falling asleep, we call it, and it won't wake up. So you have to do a special procedure for it to wake up, so then it can communicate with the vehicle so it'll start. The Sprinter alternator replacements, I don't think it's a common issue, but I do think it is common when you are upfitting it. Most like to just try to use the same alternator and the battery that's in there, but it really depends on what you're really powering, because the battery and the alternator will not last. It's just too much current going through it at such a long rate of time that it'll fry the alternator, and then the battery will just end up going along with it as well. These Sprinters are capable of having 2 batteries, 2 alternators, 2 AC compressors. So, there's definitely a modification to do for that. Mercedes does offer a second AC compressor. It just makes things so much easier. It's not so much load on one AC compressor, especially out here in Arizona. It's super hot, so you're gonna run that all day, every day. Yes, our customers are putting unleaded fuel in their car, in their Sprinters. Sometimes they don't even know it, because unleaded gas has no lubricant. Diesel has a lubricant. You're gonna wear out injectors. Once your pump starts going bad, it starts having metal shavings inside it, and you're talking about a 2,000 plus PSI that fuel is actually getting pressurized in. So that's why it's very important to replace your fuel filters, to know what exactly you're putting in, because it's very detrimental for that engine and that system that's running. If you end up doing that, putting fuel in your tank that's unleaded gas, you will rack up a bill around $20,000. The components we have to replace could be from fuel tanks, fuel pumps, injectors, rails. The good part is that through all of that is that at least still be able to run that engine. To idle a diesel for a long period of time is definitely bad. We do it all the time. I have a diesel on of my own, and I do it all the time. What's happening is you're just building up a lot of soot, a lot of, just the EGR itself, will get plugged. The passages will get plugged because you're not opening it up. You're not letting it breathe. So when you have that issue, you'll have poor performance, loss of power, your acceleration is not the same. There is a fix for it. Before, we used to actually take the parts off and clean them, but we found a better method where it introduces a cleaner inside the intake, inside the EGR ports, the exhaust, so it'll end up cleaning all those particles, soot particles that are inside the the engine or even in the passages for the EGRs. So it basically we'll see the performance from night and day.